Hello and welcome to the 100th episode of Scott Reads Comics. Today, as promised at the end of last episode, I will be reading Avengers Annual number 10, published in August of 1981 by Marvel Comics. I consider this issue to be one of the greatest comics of the modern era, maybe one of the single greatest one-issue Avengers stories ever written and drawn. It is a fantastic issue, standing alone by itself, but also as a rejoinder or a reaction or an answer to the tragic and terrible Avengers number 200, which had been published 10 months earlier by Marvel Comics. This issue stands alone as a righting of a great, great wrong to a great character, Ms. Marvel / Carol Danvers. I'm not going to read my one of my two copies of the original Avengers Annual number 10, simply because I found that the newsprint isn't quite as sharp on reproduction here. So while I do disdain the slick paper that this particular True Believers is published on, and that my Masterworks is published on, it does in some cases video a little better, a little more clearly, so you can see all the fantastic golden art. In person, for in-person reading, I prefer the newsprint, but we're gonna go with the True Believers today. So let's get started. And I do thank you for being here. Please like and subscribe, tell your friends. And sorry for the delay in getting this one out. I've just been bombarded with work and family stuff, and so it's just taken me a little while to get around to this. And I'm going to get back on a more regular schedule, hopefully this week and next, trying to put out at least one, if not two, of these videos a week, because I do love doing them. All right, we have our splash page and the incredible title, By Friends Betrayed. Chris Claremont, writer, co-editor. Michael Golden, penciler. Armando Gil, inker. Joe Rosen, letterer. Michael Golden, colorist. David Anthony Kraft, co-editor. Jim Shooter, editor-in-chief. And just a quickly flip back here, we have a somewhat questionable cover by Al Milgrom. Many people, if there's one dig on this issue, it's this cover from Al Milgrom. I do like this style of cover where they show kind of a bunch of different little vignettes that sort of suggest what's going to be happening in the comic. Captain America, totally defeated. Witness the invincible Iron Man knocked out of action. Behold the deadly new Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. Plus a shocking mystery guest. All that and a cameo appearance by the Uncanny X-Men. There is floating around on the internet what people purport to be the Michael Golden cover to this annual, which, if that is indeed the cover that was produced at that time, it's pretty awesome. Notable in this issue, not only is the reclamation of Carol Danvers and Ms. Marvel, but also the first appearance of Rogue and the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, while not their first appearance, one of their early appearances of this reincarnation of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, led by Mystique. So let's get on to it. I will also add, this issue is incredibly verbose. I am not going to read it all. There's a lot of important stuff that I do want to get to. So let's get started. Welcome to the premier metropolis of the West Coast, America's gateway to the Pacific, fabled city by the bay, San Francisco. Linking the city and Marin County across the mouth of the harbor is one of the most famous and beautiful bridges in the world, the Golden Gate. In the nearly 50 years since it was opened, it has become as much a symbol of San Francisco and a tourist attraction as the city's cable cars. Tragically, over the years, many people have chosen to end their lives by jumping off the bridge. Occasionally, though, someone gets pushed. The woman falls without a sound, 250 feet straight down towards the roiling black water of the Golden Gate. She never reaches it because Spider-Woman is there to catch her. This is just incredible. Not a classic splash page in the sense where you have one image, but man, this panel arrangement by Golden is tremendous. I would love to see the original script to this story, to see how Golden interprets Claremont's instructions and how much freedom Golden had to work with. The storytelling in this story is brilliant, and every bit of its execution is brilliant. Glider wings grabbing for every wayward gust of wind, the dark angel scrambles for altitude. The woman was unconscious before I reached her. This is no suicide attempt. Someone tried to kill her. I'm glad I chose tonight to explore my new home. Oh no, the wind shifting, dying down. I'm losing my lift. Alone, Spider-Woman probably could have remained airborne, but she's too low, too slow, and carrying twice her weight. The best she can do is twist her body as they fall, so that she bears the brunt of the impact. She surfaces almost immediately. It's so cold. I can feel it even through my insulated costume, but that woman doesn't even have that much protection. If I don't get her ashore quickly, she'll freeze. I wish that were my only problem. The currents here are fierce, and the tide is sweeping us out to sea. We landed near the middle of the channel. That means at least a mile swim whichever way I turn. I'd best get a move on then. The longer I wait, the less chance we'll have. Alone, the Dark Angel could easily reach the shore. If she stays with her companion, they could both die. Yet, characteristically, the thought of abandoning her helpless charge never enters Spider-Woman's head. 3 hours later, as the morning sun burns off the pre-dawn fog, San Francisco slowly bestirs its sprawling collective self and rises to greet the new day. Chris Claremont, for all of his faults as a storyteller, is brilliant. He can make you love or hate a character in just a few panels of dialogue or exposition, and he loves Spider-Woman, and with his exposition, his dialogue, he makes you love her too, and she is an awesome character. And I think at this point he was writing her title as well. He did for a short time, and it was great. Spider-Woman is one of my favorite characters of the Bronze Age. One of the single best costumes ever designed, especially this incarnation with the hair out like this. And Golden and Gil just absolutely crush every panel that she is in. She's just so visually stunning. On the western fringe of the city, lining the coast itself, is Ocean Beach. And to it, bright and early this Wednesday morning, comes Lieutenant Sabrina Morell, San Francisco Police Department homicide. She's here on business. Take care, little darling. We'll miss you. I'll get the door, Sister Luke. Why, thank you, Sergeant Golshinsky. Hello. I'm Maddie Pryor. I've been sick, but I'm better now. So I see. Bonjour, Spider-Woman. Comment ça va? Pause here for a second. One panel, and Chris Claremont can tell a story involving these four characters that we will likely never see again and just make you interested in them. That's what he's able to do with just a few snatches of dialogue. And is this the first appearance of Madeline Pryor in some other incarnation? I don't know. Comment if you know for sure. Let me know in the comments if this is her, or did Claremont just reuse that name again down the road for Cyclops' post-Phoenix love interest, who turned out to be much more than what she initially seemed to be. But yeah, very cool. I felt better, Lieutenant, but I'll live. I'm waiting to hear about the woman I rescued. I got a make on her. It's very interesting reading. Doctor, how's our Jane Doe? She'll live, poor thing. What do you mean? What's wrong? Physically, nothing. Her body is in superb shape. But as near as I can determine, her mind is non-existent. She functions at the level of a newborn infant. We'd better canvass all the Bay Area mental hospitals. With such an extreme condition, she's probably been institutionalized since childhood. I'm afraid, Doctor, you're wrong. We ran a check on her fingerprints. Your Jane Doe is Carol Susan Jane Danvers. Age 29, Major U.S. Air Force, retired. Chief of Security, Kennedy Space Center, NASA, retired. Former editor, Woman Magazine. Her Air Force file is classified, but I'm told she was one of the best people they had. Top-notch pilot, fluent in 3 languages, expert in armed and unarmed combat. She's single. Last known residence, 14 Carroll Street, Greenwich Village, New York. And 6 months ago, she disappeared. Ms. Danvers was stripped of all her identification, her clothes, of their labels. Her assailant wanted to make her as anonymous and untraceable as possible. We'll need her help to find him. I understand, Lieutenant, but unfortunately, we've no way of getting inside her skull to determine the type and severity of the damage. All we can do is watch and wait and hope for the best. Either she'll recover or she won't. The good doctor may be unable to learn precisely how badly Carol is hurt, but I know someone who can. Across the continent, in Professor Charles Xavier's School for Gifted Youngsters, a phone rings. To the world at large, this is an exclusive, reclusive, eminently respectable boarding school. Only a handful of people know that it is also the headquarters of a band of mutant superheroes, the Uncanny X-Men. The youngest pupil in Xavier's school, and currently its only X-Man in training, is Kitty Pryde. The professor's in the danger room, Spider-Woman. Hang on a minute, I'll get him. So, Xavier is made aware of the call. Spider-Woman, Aurora, she sounded pretty. Nightcrawler, yuck. Without warning, Nightcrawler vanishes from the observation booth in a noisome puff of smoke and flame and a bamf of imploding air, to instantly reappear inside the danger room atop the massive weapons module he and his fellow X-Men Wolverine and Colossus, Peter Rasputin, have been working for 2 days to install. So here, the X-Men are fixing the damage from Kitty's battle with the demon in the classic X-Men 143, John Byrne's last issue of Uncanny X-Men. So this kind of puts this story in Marvel continuity context. We kind of have an idea of where the X-Men are. They're around the mid-140s at this point in their run. I agree, Spider-Woman. Your situation does seem to indicate a need for my special abilities. I can be in San Francisco by mid-afternoon. I'll see you then. So meanwhile, the repairs don't go as planned. Look at this. Zapow! What an awesome panel here from Golden and Gill. And keep in mind, Golden is coloring this, and I love Golden's artwork best when he colors it, because he has an innate sense of how he wants the final product to look, and he has more control over everything. The guys on Cartoonist Kayfabe, Ed Pisker and Jim Rogg, always talk about the purity of a comic when one person is doing everything. The more one person can have their hands on the final product, the more pure that product ultimately turns out. Now, you can argue one way or the other on that, but here I really think it tells the tale, because Golden's work to this point has never looked this good. I mean, in my mind, maybe he's done better stuff since after this issue, but up to this point, I think this was his personal magnum opus, at least for me. All right, so at Carol's bedside, Xavier begins his telepathic examination. I've just been on the phone with Ms. Danvers' folks. They'll be here tonight. Her dad took the news pretty hard. And we can see here Xavier and Aurora Storm dressed in civilian clothes, which is really cool. Of course, Spider-Woman's still present. Her mother said something weird, though, that our questions could possibly be answered by the Avengers and Ms. Marvel. They're New York-based superheroes. Ms. Marvel's one of the team, a bit out of my jurisdiction and my league. I'll do what I can, Spider-Woman, but I offer no guarantees. Breaking this case won't be easy. Under the circumstances, even unofficial help would be welcome if you're interested. Spider-Woman. Eh? Professor Xavier's voice inside my head? I am communicating telepathically to preserve the secret of my mutant abilities, as you do your true identity as Jessica Drew. My mind scan is complete. Carol's condition is far worse than we feared. Her conscious mind has been completely erased. She is a tabula rasa, a blank slate, but her condition is not hopeless. Many of her critical memories and personality traits should be buried deep within her subconscious. With time and effort and luck, I believe I can draw them to the surface. Your suspicions are well founded. This is not a natural state. Carol was an exceptionally strong and courageous person. She fought hard for her mind. My preliminary scan of her subconscious picked up this residual image. I believe it is her assailant. Her name is Rogue. So here we have the first appearance of Rogue. Pretty awesome. Golden really nailing a very cool visual for her, which of course would change and soften over time. But in this issue, we have this sort of initial, almost punk rock character. Chapter 2, New York City, Central Park, mid-afternoon. This is Captain America, living legend of World War II. He has seen better days. What a panel. Totally awesome. And this is pretty much all we're going to get of Cap in this issue. Poor little Cap. You never had a chance, darling. I possess all Ms. Marvel's memories. I know how you fight, how you think. That made it easy to catch you off guard. Most importantly, I possess her power. And when I touch you, as I did her, I'll absorb your power and memories, as well as any flesh-to-flesh contact, no matter how slight, will suffice for the transfer. But I think this way is so much more fun. Then she thinks, I have to be careful. This time, remember my training if I lose control again. Stay in contact too long like I did last night in San Francisco with Ms. Marvel. The transfer will become permanent. Great Kirby crackle here to show the effect of Ms. Marvel's powers as she siphons Cap's abilities. Very cool. Not far away, facing the park across Fifth Avenue, stands one of the most famous buildings on Earth, Avengers Mansion, home of the equally famous team of superheroes. Unaware of what has just befallen their comrade, Cap's fellow Avengers are gathering for their regular weekly meeting. So here we have our cast, some of our cast for this issue, and coming smashing through is Cap's unconscious body. Goodness gracious! While the Avengers react with customary speed and efficiency, some tending to Cap, while others seeking his assailant, we shift our scene eastward across the Long Island to the corporate headquarters of Stark International. The Avengers priority alarm. So here we have Tony Stark, aka Iron Man. I notified Cap that Iron Man, would be unable to attend today's meeting. They wouldn't call, especially with that signal, unless things were deadly serious. Although Stark answers the call, it appears to the Avengers, thanks to a computer-generated facsimile image of Iron Man transmitted by Stark, that they are speaking directly to the Golden Avenger himself. Iron Man here, Jarvis. What's the problem? Captain America has been assaulted, sir. We need Dr. Blake immediately. I have searched the park and surrounding streets. I saw nothing, and no one suspicious. I'll take care of it, Jarvis. Expect us in 15 minutes. Let's move him to the med lab. Gently, guys, Wonder Man says. Again, look at the bedraggled Jarvis here, obviously bummed out by what's going on. Every golden character in this book just shines. They're totally awesome. Don, it's Tony Stark. Implausible as it sounds, Cap's been mugged. It sounds bad. You're needed. You'll make your own way to the mansion? Good. I'll meet you there. The intercom. What is it, Miss Arbogast? You have a visitor, Mr. Stark. Mrs. Janet Pym. I told her you weren't to be disturbed, but she insists. Send her in and cancel my remaining appointments. I'll be out the rest of the day. Iron Man? But I thought Tony Stark? Remember, at this point, Iron Man's identity to most of the other Avengers is not known. He was called away, but I'm glad you're here, Wasp. Captain America's been seriously hurt. All the Avengers have been summoned to the mansion. I know your husband isn't a full-time member anymore, but we can certainly use your and Yellow Jacket's help. Of course, Shellhead. It sounds so awful. Will Cap be okay? I'm afraid it's too soon to tell, Jan. What are you doing? I can't move. How perceptive. This module generates the inhibitor field that effectively renders all power systems completely dysfunctional. While it's in place, your vaunted armor is nothing more than a gaily painted statue. Your shape changing. Who are you? I love it, the way Golden shows the shape shifts in this issue. Really cool. And his version of Mystique is, like everything else in this book, phenomenal. I am Mystique. I lead the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. You might call Rogue my protege. Rogue, Iron Man has been neutralized. Proceed with Plan A. I copy, Mystique. It'll be my pleasure. I pity your friends, Shellhead. Like you and Captain America, they'll never know what hit them. At that moment, San Francisco-based private investigator Jessica Drew arrives at Avengers Mansion after a hectic eastbound trip with Storm aboard the X-Men's Blackbird. Professor Xavier stayed on the coast to do what he could for Carol, the poor woman. I hope she'll be all right. Aurora wanted to help at this end, but there's no sense involving the X-Men until I've learned more about Carol and her relationship with Ms. Marvel and the Avengers. I'll accomplish more at this stage, I think, as an ordinary PI. Hey, that woman in green running into the service alley. She's the one Xavier showed me, the woman he believes attacked Carol. Great bit of storytelling here, really nice setting up Jessica Drew's arrival, and then her witnessing Rogue darting into this alley next to Avengers Mansion. And we don't often get Avengers Mansion at this sort of street level angle, so it's kind of cool to see Golden and Gill's depiction of it here. And again, the colors here just really bring everything out perfectly and aid the storytelling. Meanwhile, in the courtyard behind the mansion, Anthony Stark is not given to hyperbole. Captain America's condition must be grave indeed. The situation is no less so. I have fought beside the Star-Spangled Avenger in innumerable battles. Any foe capable of causing such grievous harm is one to be reckoned with. But 'twas not to employ the power of Thor that the god of thunder was so urgently summoned. Thor's mystic Uru hammer Mjolnir strikes the ground, once more transforming an Asgardian immortal into a lame physician. What's needed this evening are the medical skills of Dr. Donald Blake. Too true, Doc. Ugh. Crack. Love that here. The use of the different color to highlight the impact of Rogue's palm strike here on Don Blake. And your first patient is going to be yourself. Leave him alone. Who? The name is Spider-Woman, Rogue. I've been looking forward to this meeting ever since I hauled Carol Danvers out of the Golden Gate. She's alive, no thanks to you, and you're going to pay for what you've done to her. Do tell. Blessed. Spider-Woman's costume covers her entire body. That punch nearly finished me. Rogue's strength is awesome. But when I tap my cane against the ground, the odds in this scrap will change considerably. If I can't touch her flesh, I can't absorb her powers. She's so fast and agile. Great shot here. Now, obviously, Spider-Woman can lift press around 7 tons, Rogue 50 tons at this point, so not an even straight-up match, but Spider-Woman is the better close combatant. I haven't been able to hit her. Hold, woman. Thor knowest not who thou art. I'm Rogue, darling, and you have my eternal gratitude for handing me victory on the proverbial silver platter. I should point out, though, that she's got the fighting abilities of Captain America here as well, so that actually should even things out pretty well between the two. But Thor intercedes here, and it doesn't go well. She's absorbing Thor's powers. The transfer doesn't seem to be complete. Perhaps I can still stop her with a venom blast. Emerald fire explodes from the Dark Angel's fingertips, a bioelectric bolt of staggering proportions. It has absolutely no effect. Again, the use of color just enhances the already incredible artwork to, level 11 with a knob broken off. It's incredible. What's causing all the commotion? Cripes! Thor's being trashed by a woman. The female in green is unknown to me, but my memory cells recognize her antagonist from our security files as Spider-Woman. Judging from her proximity to Thor and his obvious physical condition, the mystery woman seems the more evident threat. I will deal with her. Vision, coming fast. He's a synthezoid, a sentient mechanism. My power only works on living beings. I can't absorb his abilities. I'll have to destroy him. Mystique taught me how he fights. He'll probably reduce his density to an ephemeral state, and then make part of his body solid with mine, hoping the stress will stun me. But if I use Thor as a shield, fear of hurting his fellow Avenger should throw him off balance long enough. No! For me to administer the instant coup de grace. So keep in mind, this awesome left hand that she throws, this straight left, that KOs the Vision, was with the combined strength of Ms. Marvel and Thor, and delivered with Captain America's skill. So pretty amazing. Totally incredible sequence of panels here. If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, I wouldn't have believed it. You KO'd the Vision with one punch, huh? I slammed into you full force and you're still standing. That's right, Wonder Man. You're fighting someone who possesses the aggregate power of Thor, Captain America, and Ms. Marvel. Ms. Marvel, but that's impossible. She throttles him here. And I'm about to add your abilities to my collection, sugar. Something's wrong. I touched him, but nothing's happened. His eyes, they're not human. Indeed, they are not, and neither is Wonder Man himself. He's a being of living, sentient energy, as powerful as Thor, as immune to Rogue's mutant abilities as the Vision. Realizing her danger, Rogue deals with him in a similar manner. This is incredible. Just hurls him into this dumpster. Incredible, and I love the addition here of Spider-Woman watching from the side of this wall here as she clings to it with her powers. That's 3 I couldn't affect. 2 more than Mystique and I bargained for. If I stay, I could probably kill them all, but I can't afford the risk. With what's at stake, Mystique would skin me alive. Ta-ta, darlings. I hate to win and run, but I have prior engagement. Don't fret, though. We'll do this again sometime, real soon. I can hardly wait. What brings you here, Red? Aren't you based in Los Angeles? San Francisco. I'm investigating the attempted murder of Carol Danvers, better known to you, Avengers, as Ms. Marvel. So here we get the introduction from Spider-Woman, or the summation from Spider-Woman of what has gone before in the previous pages. And then the Scarlet Witch responds with a summary of the events of Avengers 200, that tragic tale, unintentionally tragic, that we went over in episode 99. In Scarlet Witch, her last bit of dialogue here on this page. But he found the loneliness of that place unbearable. He resolved to escape to Earth. To do that, he teleported Ms. Marvel to Limbo, wooed her, won her trust and love, and implanted his essence within her, creating a condition that resembled pregnancy. And then Hawkeye picks up the tale. Already, though, even that brief summation just tells you how messed up the story of issue 200 was. And here Hawkeye finishes the summation of 200's events. Then, surprisingly, Carol offered to join him. He'd been in love with her from the start. That was partly why he'd come to Earth, to be with her. Now she'd fallen in love with him. Thor opened a dimension portal with his Uru hammer, and off they went, hopefully to live happily ever after. I assume, since she was living alone on the coast, that things didn't work out. But why didn't she try to contact you? She still possessed the powers of Ms. Marvel, else Rogue couldn't have stolen them. Why didn't she ever use them? Beast, how are your patients? Oh, I love Michael Golden's Beast, wow. I've run comparison scans with the data you supplied to Carol, Spider-Woman. We're lucky. The effect on Cap and Thor seems to be temporary, though I have no idea how long it will last. Which, any word from Iron Man? Nothing, since we first phoned him. I'm afraid we'll have to assume the worst. Our foe certainly knows her business. Her first strikes neutralize your strongest, most experienced members. Even if we find Rogue, defeating her won't be easy. One step at a time, my darling Dark Angel. In a way, It's fortunate that Ms. Marvel was the one of those attacked. Her hybrid Kree-human metabolism broadcasts a unique energy aura. When Rogue absorbed her powers, she took that aura as well. Our scanners should have no trouble locating her. Voila! She is crossing Randall's Island, moving almost due east. Where could she be heading? I believe I know, Yocasta. And if I'm right, our troubles may have just begun. So it's great, too, that Jocasta is part of this story. She's one of my favorite non-Avengers or Avengers associates. Never got to really be a member of the team. And I'm trying to see if she actually shows up earlier in the issue anywhere. I think that is actually her first appearance in the story, is just right here. And up, no, she's behind the Beast here. So clearly she was helping the Beast in the lab, which is cool. And now she's going to be part of the action in this story, which is awesome because she is an integral part of the action in the following pages. Chapter 4, Rikers Island, midnight. Originally, this was a city jail, but to raise money during a New York's ongoing fiscal crisis, a section of the prison was leased to the federal government to be used for the incarceration of so-called super criminals. Among the inmates are members of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. One of them is Destiny, a blind woman with a psychic ability to see the future. Be ready, my friends. Our deliverance is at hand. Bombs away, sugar. Happy landings. This is infuriating and embarrassing. So long as Mystique's inhibitor is attached to my armor, I'm helpless. So this awesome, looks like an early version of the Marine Osprey tilt-wing rotorcraft, piloted here by Rogue and Mystique, shows up on scene, and Iron Man is hurled by Rogue out of it like a missile. Rogue's aim is as true as her arm is strong, and now and Iron Man strikes the main generator room with the force of a small nuclear bomb. Ordinary cells won't hold most supercriminals, and a few can only be imprisoned within massive energy fields. A constant flow of power is needed to maintain those fields. Any disruption of that complex electrical grid, no matter how slight, can have devastating results. Throughout the prison, only 4 inmates are prepared to take advantage of their golden opportunity before the reserve generators come online. Destiny is one. A mutant known as a blob is the other. Oh, I love that. And we also see here Avalanche and Pyro, the other 2 main members of the Brotherhood of Evil, are also ready to take advantage. In the courtyard, the 4 escapees rendezvous with Mystique and Rogue and quickly don their costumes. I gotta hand it to you, Misty. You said you'd bust us out of stir, and you did it. If that compliment doesn't make Mystique stay, Blob, I don't know what will. A valiant try, Avalanche, but I fear such irony is lost on our corpulent comrade. Destiny, oh my beloved friend, it is so good to see you. It gladdens my heart to hear your voice also, Raven, but we must be gone from here quickly. Too late, group. It looks like my rematch with the Avengers is coming a whole lot sooner than I figured on. Avengers, assemble! You were right, Spider-Woman. This is a prison break. Who are these bozos anyway? Be careful, all of you. Remember that Rogue possesses the abilities of some of our strongest and most experienced members. They are a new incarnation of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, Hawkeye. Last November in Washington, D.C., all save Mystique were captured by the mutant X-Men when they attempted the assassination of Senator Robert Kelly. That's X-Men 141, 142, The Immortal Days of Future Past, which at the recording of this episode was just announced that they're going to be reprinted in facsimile editions. So that's pretty cool too, as an aside. I hate to make a lousy situation worse, Witch Lady, but you people have a lot more to worry about than Rogue. A gesture, a moment's concentration from Avalanche, creates an irresistible tidal wave of concrete that knocks the Avengers off their feet and sweeps the Quinjet into the East River. Michael Golden and Armando Gil's command of storytelling, figure work, and action in this fight is just incomparable. Quite so, chum. We are none of us lightweights, especially, dare I say it, the Blob. And again, there's a difference in the way Chris Claremont writes dialogue and uses exposition to make you like characters. Like, these characters are villains, but they're sort of ribbing each other as they're fighting the Avengers. They all have distinct sort of personalities and agendas, and they have a certain esprit de corps among themselves that you can't help but liking. It's cool, and it feels real. Yow, the Englishman created a bird of fire. Get out of here, Spider-Woman, before this thing barbecues us. Iron Man is somewhere inside the prison. I'll try to find him. Spider-Woman is dangerous, Mystique. If she rescues Iron Man, his power could tip the scales against us. She's the one who saved Carol Danvers' life. Leave her to me. Destiny, the Brotherhood is in your hands. Guide them well. Control your emotions, Mystique, lest your hatred for the Danvers woman leads us all to destruction. Take care, Raven Darkholme. And you, Irene. Again, there's more between these two characters than what we see on the surface. It's revealed in this dialogue, these snatches of dialogue. There is a deep and abiding love between these two characters, and with just a few turns of phrase, Claremont lets you know that. Once more, utilizing her mutant shape-changing ability, Mystique slips into the prison after the Dark Angel. None of the Avengers see her go. None realize that she's missing. They're all too busy trying to stay alive. I'm outflying that thing barely, but how the blazes do I outfight it? Great use of Wonder Man's belt jets here in this sequence. Pyro, transform your Phoenix into a hammer of flame when Wonder Man loops beneath the Firebird. Now! As good as done, love. Huh? No, that's totally awesome. You called that shot right on a button, Destiny, even though the flames don't seem to be hurting him any. No problem. You and the Limey set the sucker up. The Blob will finish him off. Kapow! Boom! This is awesome as Blob backhands a careening Wonder Man through this guard tower building and out of the fight for now. That guard tower only marginally impeded Wonder Man's progress. His trajectory indicates that he will land somewhere in the West Bronx. I fear it will be some time before he rejoins us. And the Scarlet Witch? All right, Jocasta. I just need to clear my head. Wandy's out. The witch is pretty woozy. Man, these creeps are murdering us. And they haven't even unlimbered their big gun yet. Rogue. Take heart, Hawk. The bigger the challenge, the better I like it. And this challenge is a doozy. Cowabunga, sweetums. The Avengers have only just begun to fight, the Beast says. That's some classic Claremont dialogue there. Pyro, Hawkman will fire a smoke arrow to mask the Beast's movements while he attacks the Blob. So what? No way is he going to hurt me. The smoke is dispersed, Destiny. What happens next? Oh, he flies through the air with the greatest of ease. In point fact, Tubbo, who said I was going to hurt you? The daring young beast. Sans the flying trapeze. I'm merely attacking you en route to my true target. Pyro, tis Destiny. I do believe you've made an error. Great action sequence here. Ta-da! And for my encore, Beast, do you play chess? Naturellement, Monsieur Destiny. What about it? Then you know the stratagem of sacrificing a lesser piece to take a major piece of one's foe. I knew precisely what you would do, and precisely where you would land. True, Pyro has a headache, but his will be nothing compared to yours. So awesome here, Avalanche. That's actually Rogue there, toppling this building on top of the Beast. Pretty awesome action sequence there. And I love the way this fight expertly depicts how Destiny uses her powers offensively to augment the attacks of her comrades. Really cool. Shoot, babe. I wanted to waste that XX man myself. Hey, the Vision, rising out of the ground like a ghost. You scummy machine, you're hurting me, but that's all. Incredible. I've increased my density to near normal. The strain within the blob must be unbearable, yet he still stands. That's more than can be said for you, Vision, honey. Ugh! Another great use of color here to sort of bring this action starkly to life. Really cool. Vision's down, and he isn't moving. Heck, he's lucky he's still in one piece, considering that rogue hit him with the combined strength of Thor, Cap, and Miss Marvel. If I had any smarts, I'd vamoose, but that ain't my style. Avalanche, Hawkeye mustn't fire that arrow. Gotcha, Destiny. But fast as Avalanche acts, Hawkeye acts a fraction faster, firing a screamer arrow that overloads both optic nerve and eardrum, the double shot instantly paralyzing anyone within range. My eyes, I can't see. Unfortunately, before Hawkeye can capitalize on his good fortune, the ground rising up and sweeping me away like it did the Quinjet, lost my bow and I'm losing my arrows. Really great depiction of Avalanche's powers. Just really cool. Blob's in bad shape, Destiny, but I'm pretty much okay. Good. Things are well in hand here. The critical element lies within the prison here, where Spider-Woman seeks Iron Man. She must not be allowed to restore his powers. Help Mystique find her, Rogue. Slay her, or we are all lost. So now we'll shift. In the main generator room. Iron Man, I presume? I'm Spider-Woman, a friend. Are you all right? So Spider-Woman seeks to free Iron Man, but suddenly Nick Fury shows up. Careful, Spider-Woman. That thing may be booby-trapped. Nick Fury? Nicholas, old friend, you're a welcome sight indeed. Likewise, I've been looking all over for you. Spider-Woman, the mutant who captured me, Mystique, is a shape-changer, and Nick Fury is attending a NATO security conference in London, so unless he can be in two places at once, I get the picture. I thought something about Nicholas didn't feel right. I'm glad to see my suspicions confirmed. Nice try, Mystique. Rogue told me how fast and agile Spider-Woman was, but she has to be seen to be believed. I'm firing this M16 on full automatic, and my bullets aren't even coming close. Again, great sequence showing Mystique shape-shifting back into her natural form from Nick Fury. Really cool to see the height difference here. Is that Mystique's true appearance? Her features resemble Nightcrawler's. Could there be a connection? She's out of ammunition. A Venom Blast should end our duel long before she can reload. Claremont had to slip in a little X-Men subplot there. Nothing. Incredible. I fired at close range. She had no effective cover at hand, yet somehow I missed. I can't take time to search for her while Iron Man is so vulnerable. I must do what I can to help him. Someone running from the generator building. It's Mystique. She wouldn't be hustling like that if her mission was successful. I think I arrived to back her up in a proverbial nick of Shazam! Iron Man, wait. Rogue possesses the combined powers. I know the lady's capabilities, Spider-Woman, and how she acquired them. While I was a Brotherhood's prisoner, she told me everything in graphic detail. But you removed the inhibitor module, and your bioelectric venom blasts have recharged my energy cells. My armor's operating at full power, and by heaven, I mean to use it. What a great sequence here. He just slugs the ultra-powerful Rogue with a powerful right cross. My goodness, Sugar, you certainly are no gentleman. But then, what else can I expect from a Yankee? I felt his punch. The powers I absorbed from Thor and Captain America must be wearing off. I possess Ms. Marvel's abilities permanently, but I don't know if they'll be enough to defeat all the Avengers. Mystique's plan depended on speed and surprise. The longer the struggle continues, the worse our chances become. We must act decisively before the tide of battle turns irrevocably against us. Give me a few more seconds to collect me wits, Destiny, and I'll fry those sanctimonious yabos. You want time, Pyro? How about a few more years in prison? Oh man, Scarlet Witch looks amazing in this panel. The Scarlet Witch has the mutant ability to alter probabilities in a wild, unpredictable manner. When she casts her hex spheres, literally anything can happen. In this case, an old gas main underneath the courtyard suddenly erupts. So now things begin to turn against the Brotherhood. Here Off panel, Rogue must have engaged Spider-Woman in close combat, and Iron Man helps her out with a repulsor blast. Iron Man, don't worry, Spider-Woman, I'll catch you. No, look at Rogue. She's weakening. I'm fighting fast. I can't absorb the powers of most of the Avengers I'm fighting, and the ones I can affect don't have anywhere near the raw power I'll need against Iron Man. So here, she and Mystique make their escape. Mystique is in their escape plane here, this VTOL Osprey-looking craft, and this kind of presages Michael Golden's work with all the tech and stuff that we would see in the G.I. Joe special, which he does so well with when G.I. Joe battles the October Guard in Cobra in that awesome three-way running battle. That converter plane is a top secret design. Only a handful have been built. How did Mystique even learn of its existence, much less get a hold of one? And the inhibitor module she used on me is the latest thing in S.H.I.E.L.D. hardware. Somehow, Mystique has access to the most sophisticated weaponry in America's arsenal. Iron Man, the courtyard, look. Good grief. So here we have an awesome full-page duel between the Scarlet Witch and Pyro, and it's visually stunning. I can't follow Mystique and help the Scarlet Witch. Since Pyro is the more immediate threat, I've really no choice. I'll have to let the converter plane escape. Blast. Wanda's hex transmuted Pyro's fire being into a statue. My repulsor rays should be the perfect method for smashing the statue into rubble. Not too shabby, Shellhead. If I ever want anything demolished, you're the guy I'll call to do it. Uh-oh. Pyro's monster may have been zapped, but not the man himself. He's setting up for another try. So Hawkeye KOs Pyro. And finally, Wonder Man's back. Looks like you won't be needing my help against Pyro. Wonder Man, you're all right. Of course I am. All the Blob did was hit me. What a line. Wonder Man, totally indestructible. Some people have all the luck. Me, I got the cast of the Wicked Witch of the East in an impromptu rogue show of The Wizard of Oz. Hey, you guys, anyone see my ruby slippers? I seem to be stuck. Yikes, what gives, fella? I thought this fight was over. Not by a long shot, Fuzzy. Avalanche. He's melting that wrecked guard tower into a tidal wave. The beast will be killed. And here, Yocasta shows up for the first time, but not the last. Not if I can help it, Yocasta. So it's great how her probability frees the beast and he KOs Avalanche. Here, Blob and the Vision are going at it in this incredible 3-panel sequence. Oh, it's so awesome looking at the Vision's power effect right in Blob's face. And then Yocasta joins in here as they blast him into an impromptu pit. And the Scarlet Witch, along with the other Avengers, transforms that pit into a muddy, watery trap. The Vision strategy works to perfection. The flash flood smashes the Blob back into the pit, while simultaneously the water combines with the powdered wreckage to form a gooey morass. The Blob soon finds himself stuck in a pool of muddy quicksand, unable to escape and in imminent danger of drowning. Seeing no alternative, he surrenders. So here we have the fateful Chapter 5. Post-battle, the Avengers are flying to the X-Mansion to meet with Carol Danvers for the first time since she's recovered from her ordeal. Again, no powers. She is just Carol Danvers now. Gorgeous here. I love these bathing suits, and just Golden's lustrous work on these female characters is really impressive. They look great. At first, no one says a word, and Carol panics, regretting letting Jessica Drew go, wondering if the sudden burst of tears shows in her face. Then, "Hi, Carol. How are you doing?" "Better than expected, Hank. I'll never regain all my memories, but Professor Xavier has helped me remember who I am and what I was. I remember my family. I remember the Avengers and how I came to leave them. Bits and pieces, mostly. I have a ways to go yet. But I'm forgetting my manners. Please sit down. Would anyone like some iced tea? I'm afraid Wolverine took the beer with him. You're looking real good, Carol. What happened to Marcus? After you left with him, we didn't think we'd expect to see you two lovebirds again. I'm sure you didn't, Hawkeye. Marcus is dead. What? We're very sorry, Carol. You two made a wonderful couple. We hoped you'd be happy together. Is there anything we can do to ease your pain? Didn't you do enough to cause it? Carol, what's wrong? I'm sorry, Hank. Be not ashamed of thy womanly tears, Carol. Thou hast lost the one thou dost love. No! And love, she slaps Thor right in the face for his stupid remark. I didn't love Marcus. I never loved Marcus. Don't any of you realize what happened months ago? What Marcus did to me? Guys, maybe our visit was a mistake. Hold it. I was there, lady. You told us you cared for Marcus. You left with him of your own free will. I left because I had no choice. Marcus gave me none. He was a sad, pathetic creature, possessing the abilities of a god, the body of a man, and the emotional maturity of a child. In limbo, his every wish was granted. He saw me, desired me. He used me as a means to escape from limbo to Earth. And when that plan failed, he took me back with him. You saw it happen, Hawkeye. You, Iron Man, and Thor. You heard his story. Marcus said that Immortus devices could bend me to his will. But he didn't want me that way. He set out to win my love. And finally, as he told you, with a subtle boost from Immortus machines, he succeeded. But for all his brilliance, Marcus was careless. He made a fatal error in his calculations. When I gave birth to him, his body shifted fractionally out of sync with the rhythm of life in limbo. Where before time passed normally for him, it now passed at a fantastically accelerated rate. In days after our return, he aged, years by the time he realized that was happening, was too old and senile to deal with it. Within a week, he was dust. Free of his control, I learned enough of Immortus' secrets to allow me to transport myself home. The rest you know. Carol, why didn't you return to the Avengers? Why didn't you at least contact us? Wanda, I never wanted to see you, any of you, again. I hated you, because when I needed you most, you betrayed me. And we have, watching from the windows, Jessica Drew and Professor X. There I was, pregnant by an unknown source, running through a 9-month term, literally overnight, confused, terrified, shaken to the core of my being as a hero, a person, a woman. I turned to you for help, and I got jokes. The Wasp thought it was great, and the Beast offered to play teddy bear if your concerns were for the baby, not for how it came to be, not for the cost to me of that conception. You took everything Marcus said at face value. You didn't question, you didn't doubt. You simply let me go with a smile and a wave of a bouncy bon voyage. That was your mistake, for which I paid the price. My mistake was trusting you. After a trauma like mine, it's easy to wallow in bitterness and self-pity, but both grief and guilt have to be faced, dealt with, exercised. There has to be more to being heroes than simply defeating villains. You have a role, a purpose far greater than yourselves. You have to set examples, lead the way. You represent what we dream of becoming, not what we are. You screwed up, Avengers. That's human. What is also human is the ability to learn from those mistakes, to grow, to mature. If you do that, even a little, then perhaps what I went through will have a positive meaning. It's your choice. Carol, what about you? What will you do? Pick up the pieces of my life. Start again. Survive. I'm good at that. Carol, I would give anything for this never to have happened. We are so sorry. I know, Wanda. Don't worry. I'll be all right. Later, aboard the Quinjet en route back to Manhattan. There is a great sadness about you, Wanda. I keep thinking, Vision, what if Marcus had chosen me? We sought only to do good, yet instead we caused irreparable harm. No matter where the Avengers go from here on, what we do Things will never again be as sure, as certain, as safe. I suddenly feel vulnerable in ways I never imagined. Carol was a friend, Vision, and you failed her. Yes. What hurts as deeply is the realization that I'm even capable of such a failure. Wanda, remember what Carol told us. Heed her words. Today we have faced some harsh truths about ourselves. But just as a sword goes through fire to temper and harden the blade, so will we, as individuals and Avengers, emerge from this travail stronger and more resilient than before. And next time, perhaps, should there be a next time, we will not fail. Both we and Carol have been granted a second chance, my love. Let us use it well. So, we end here with a shot, of course, of the original cover of Avengers Annual number 10. But wow, yeah, that is Chris Claremont's epic slapback at the four unfortunate co-plotters of Avengers 200 who put Carol Danvers in that terrible position. And it's done in such a way as to be one of the greatest single comics ever produced. And I'm glad you shared it with me today. I really appreciate it. I appreciate all the folks who've visited the channel and watched my episodes over the last 100, and I hope to continue forward with more great coverage of the comics I love. So thanks for watching, and I'll bring you more soon on Scott Reads Comics. Take care.